Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Now today I am taking part in a tag. I wasn't tagged to do this, but I saw it first on Break Even Books and I thought it was really interesting. I'll link his video down in the description down below and up in the cards. It made me think this is a really cool tag and I want to do that. So that's what I've done. Now I'll also link the original video. I don't know what the original video is or who first created this tag, but I'll link it if I find it. Anyway, on to the video. I have also dropped the questions down in the description box down below. So, on with the video. 1. Genre. Recommend a book that reflects your ideal novel's genre and mood. So this one was harder than I thought it was going to be, but I ultimately decided on a book that I really loved. And I loved the atmosphere, and I loved it. Now my favourite genre is fantasy. So I have gone with The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This book is very character driven. It's not hugely plot heavy, but that's kind of why I love it. The general mood of this book, where it's all kind of about mystical, you're trying to work out what's going on between characters, it's just very fantastical. And I love it, and it gives me a feeling inside that no other book has yet come close to. And also this copy, I'm sorry who gave it the right, but also yes, I love this. Question number 2 is main character. If you could pull the main character from any book on your shelves to read another novel about, who would it be? Now, I stopped and thought about this one for a while, and then I realised it was way easier than I was making out, because I've just read a book with a kick-ass main character, and I've spoken about it in length. Audrey Rose Wadsworth from Stalking Jack the Ripper. I think she's amazing. I think you could chuck her into any setting, and she would kick butt. She would be amazing, no matter where you put her. So, yeah. Number 3 is the supporting character. Who would be your main character's sidekick? So, this one is a little bit out there, and if you've read the book, you'll probably understand why. If not, you're probably going to think this seems really out of place, and it is, and I just think these two would be very funny next to one another. And that would be Crowley from Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. Now, Crowley is, well, I mean, he's a demon or a fallen angel, and he's so funny. Him and Aziraphale in this book just riff off each other the entire time, and it is pure genius, and I love it, and it's so funny. And I just feel Audrey Rose Wadsworth would definitely give Crowley a run for his money, and I just think it would be wonderful to see those two go at it, essentially. I think it would be great. I think the relationship between them would be incredible, and yeah, so that's why I chose Crowley. Number 4 was Trope. What trope can you not get enough of? Recommend a couple of books you love that have used this trope. Now, I'm going to be one of those people that says, oh, I don't really like tropes, because I don't. I really can't stand tropes. I mean, if there is a book that has a trope in it, I'm not going to immediately stop reading, but I don't do tropes. Tropes just kind of irritate me, like the whole love triangle trope. No, don't do it, don't like it, hate it. So yeah, pass on that one. I wouldn't have a trope in my book. Number 5 is plot twist. Which book has your favourite plot twist? Now, I sat for a good 5 minutes maybe, thinking, which books have I read that have plot twists? Now, I've read a lot of books, and this may be a case of me just not remembering, but one recently that really stands out to me is Illuminae by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This book took me on an entire journey, and let me tell you, took me through a ringer. I'm not going to tell you what the plot twist was, you just need to read it to find out, and I can definitely not recommend this book more. It's incredible. I would definitely suggest reading the audiobook as well, but you're going to want it because there's like schematics and the layout is so amazing. So yeah, just read it, but yes, the plot twist in this, Oh boy! And if you've read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. 6. Relationships. What kind of relationship is important in your book? Show us your favourite bookish example of this kind of relationship. Now, immediately my brain went to friendship. I think friendship is the most important thing any book can portray. I find that much more interesting than a romance or a familial relationship. I love friendship and found family, that kind of stuff. And my brain again immediately went to 2 books, but this one won out, and that was Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. The friendship between Grover, Percy and Annabeth, I love it to pieces. I think it's really well done. So Rick Riordan, he really knows how to write friendships, especially from like kids, and they are still very young. But yeah, I definitely think if I could get a friendship going around the same as this book, I think it would be amazing, and I do love it, and it's very well written. And I think just the way that every single character interacts with one another is something I also really, really appreciate. And yeah, I know there is kind of romance, well, there is romance, but it's still from like a very young teenager age, and I think the friendship wins out more than anything else, especially when they're in bigger groups of people. Although it's still those 3, in the span of the entire Percy Jackson novels. I've only read Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I haven't read the other ones yet, but I really, really want to. But I find these books to be incredible, and the talk of friendship and talk of lots of other serious issues is just fabulous. So, fantastic middle grade, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Now, this was definitely my favourite one, but it's a villain. Which villain would you steal for your book? Now, again, I had to think a long time about this one because villains are definitely my favourite part of any book. I think they're so compelling. And then my brain settled on Victor from V.E. Schwab's Vicious. He is so complex, and this whole series, so Vicious and Vengeful, I've only read Vicious so far. I will be reading Vengeful hopefully soon. My camera just stopped recording, so yay me. As I was saying, I would choose Victor over Eli from Vicious, just because Victor just seems a lot more complex than Eli. I like Eli a lot, but Victor is just so compelling, and he's so scary and sinister, and there's just something about him. You just need to read Vicious to understand what I'm talking about, but anyone who has read it will know why Victor is my choice. And if you don't, drop me a comment in the box and tell me why I'm wrong and why I should have chosen Eli over Victor. But yes, I'm in love with Victor, so there's that. Last but not least is ending. Which kind of ending do you like the best? All wrapped up, open-ended, or something else? Give us an example of your favourite ending. Now, this one threw me through a loop. I was sitting here for a while thinking, well, I quite like open-ended, but then I quite like all closed, because I don't like having questions unless it's a series. And the thing is, I read an awful lot of series, like the first book of a series, and I'm yet to finish them, so I don't really know the true ending. But there is one that I read recently, which was a standalone, and it was incredible, and that would be Neil Gaiman's The Ocean at the End of the Lane. Now, the reason I like this so much was because you learn so much about this man's life. You never know the man's name, by the way, and his ending is just so profound. Like, he goes to visit his childhood home, and he finds the story of his whole life, and he relives it, and it's just profound. Like, the whole book. This book, it's really short. It is 235 pages, this book. Okay, so if my camera could stop dying on me, that would be great. As I was saying, my favourite ending is definitely Neil Gaiman's The Ocean at the End of the Lane. It's very, very profound. If you haven't read this book, you should. It's amazing, incredible, and it made me stop and think about what I thought of books and what they meant to me. So yeah, If I was to have an ending, hopefully it would be something a bit like this, but it would be a lot more than 235 words. 235 words? 235 pages, I can tell you that one for sure. But yes, highly recommend this book too. And that is it for today. I had a lot of fun thinking up all the answers to the questions. Again, I've put all of the questions in my description box, and if you want to do it, I'm not going to tag anyone just because, I mean, I think everyone and their dog has probably already done this, but if you have watched my video and you're like, oh, that sounds like a cool idea, just do it, have fun, and yeah. Now, if you're wanting to question me or anything about any of my choices, drop me a comment or direct message me on Instagram. All my links are in the description box down below, as I've said. And yeah, if you like this video, please drop it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So thanks, guys.